Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Now, I have said so many times in the past that I am just not a pasta person, and I'm not. I'm gonna be honest. If we look at pasta logically, it is just the perfect vehicle for adding flavor, nutrition, texture, anything you want, within reason. So yeah, you best believe that if Miles is eating pasta, that it's damn good, because like I said, I'm just not a pasta person at all. But the two recipes I'm gonna share with you today, today we're going to be making two very healthy and creamy pasta dishes. The first one is my take on vegan carbonara. I know that everyone kind of has their own different take on it. Trust me, mine's the best. And also you best believe that there's tahini involved because, of course. Yeah, and then the second...
Hello?
That phone has not rang once in the last few weeks as soon as I turn on the camera. So fucking rude. Yeah, so the second recipe, and I don't mean to offend any proper Italians out there, because I will admit, I'm not doing this the traditional way, I'm doing this the healthy, crazy, cool way. Nothing on this channel is traditional, so get used to it. But yeah, the second recipe is my take on pasta alla Genovese, which comes with a beautiful green pesto. Yeah, and the creaminess in that recipe actually comes from potatoes. It's really good. These two recipes, flavor, nutrition, got it all covered. As always, it goes without saying that whenever you see me making pasta or any kind of grain, I'm gonna be using whole grain. Why? Because it's higher in flavor, higher in B vitamins, higher in fiber, gonna give your body a longer lasting supply of energy, and in my opinion, it just tastes better anyway, so you use whatever you want. Anyways, we're gonna start with my version of vegan carbonara, which is the best carbonara in the world. Fact. Alright, so onto the carbonara sauce. What I have here, now I know a lot of people in recipes like this, they rely heavily on cashews, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that. But I always like to bump up the omega-3s by switching some of the cashews for hemp seeds. So I've got half a cup of soaked cashews, third of a cup of hemp seeds. I am forever grateful to MyProtein for giving me a constant supply of these, because without them I just could not cope. Quarter of a cup of nooch to give it a nice cheesy flavor. And then I've got about... I meant to make this 3 tablespoons of tahini, but I think I've put about 4 in there. I can't emphasize enough, guys, when you buy your tahini, it should not be like clay, it should be pourable. That is the proper gold stuff, okay? And this is also what makes this recipe just, takes it to a different level, let's just put it that way. I've got 2 cups of steamed butternut squash. Here you could pretty much use any root veggie that you want. You could use pumpkin, you could use carrot or parsnip. Just make sure they're steamed and nice and soft. That's gonna give it a nice sweet flavor and obviously a creamy texture when this is all blended and stuff. Also, if you're overweight, good tip, don't bother going to the gym. Just peel and dice a whole butternut squash. Trust me, it takes like 5 hours and you will burn like 20,000 calories. Just saying. Gonna be using a little bit of sweet smoked paprika and also a pinch of cinnamon. We're gonna need the juice of 2 fresh lemons, limone, and then also a couple of spoons of tamari. Of course, you could also use soy sauce. Also, just to thin the sauce, I'm using about 200 milliliters of just water. You can play around with the amount of water that you use. Maybe just start with a little bit and see how thick you want the sauce. And then once this sauce is blended, we're gonna add it to a pan of fried mushrooms and garlic, and also some spinach, and then we're gonna toss it with the pasta, and you will just see something special, so. So the amount I've shown you here, obviously you can see it's a lot of sauce. This probably would make 3 or 4 servings if you're sharing it out with people. And of course it will stay fresh in your fridge for whenever you need it. Adding a little bit of tamari for extra flavor. As you can see, the spinach has wilted down quite a lot. Obviously the spinach is optional, but I think if you can get extra greens in there, go for it. You could also use kale. The mushrooms are nice and cooked down and caramelized. In goes our whole wheat pasta. And then some of our delicious, creamy, healthy sauce. I think this could do with a little extra fresh spinach. Final touch, a little bit more seasoning. I prefer this dish hot. It is also delicious cold though, so if you want to make a big batch and then put it in containers, put it in the fridge, and then have it for lunch throughout the week at work or whatever, that's good too. This is not just first class flavor, guys. We also have a bomb of nutrition in there. Healthy fats from the hemp seeds and the cashews, spinach, garlic, mushrooms, whole wheat pasta, the spices. Also got a nice bang of B12 from the nooch. So pretty much every ingredient that I threw in there has amazing health benefits, including the tahini, which is a very good source of calcium if you're using unhulled. So yeah, not only is this a treat for your taste buds, guys, but your body will thank you back too. Nothing left to do apart from happily apply to face. I just cannot even tell you, there are actually no words for this. Incredible. Yeah, since I created this magical mix, I've literally been eating it on repeat for the last 2 weeks. It's so good. Cheers. Anyways, onto my version of pasta alla Genovese. And I know I'm not saying that right. Alright guys, so what you will need for this next epic creation is, alright, so first potatoes. You can use any white potatoes that you like. These are gonna get boiled up along with the pasta. And this is what kind of emulsifies this whole mixture into a delicious, creamy sauce. Got some whole wheat linguine. You can use any whole grain pasta that you like. Lots of green string beans. I've got half a cup of pine nuts. You could also use walnuts, 2 cloves of fresh garlic, lots and lots of fresh basil. This is what makes the pesto so incredibly intensified with flavor, like you have no idea. Just the scent of that basil right now is just taking me to a different place. Anyways, back to the recipe. Traditionally, this recipe to make the pesto would rely on a lot of olive oil. I'm gonna use a little bit of olive oil. I've just got 1/3 of a cup of garlic infused olive oil. That is totally optional. Like I said, usually this recipe would require about, I don't know, 5 times more. I'm only using it for the flavor and the way it kind of emulsifies the pesto. So yeah, like I said, I've already cut down the olive oil a lot in this recipe, but if you want it to be completely oil-free, then just scrap that. You can bump up the pine nuts, and then we're gonna be using some veggie broth to thin anyway, so it's gonna work. All right, so let's get cooking. Starting off with the potatoes, you wanna get these in before the pasta. And don't worry if you're thinking they're gonna break down and get really squidgy and mushy, because that's what you want. That's what creates the creaminess in this sauce, so yeah. I'd say give these a good 10 minutes before you add the pasta and green beans. And from there, we are just on a one-way trip to green, creamy pasta heaven. Starting off with all of that incredibly fragrant, fresh basil. Pine nuts. Lemon juice, 2 cloves of garlic, a little bit of garlic infused olive oil, and veggie broth to thin as needed. A little bit of salt and pepper. Do you know what? I am very tempted to put tahini in this, but for once, I'm actually going to restrain myself and stick to the actual recipe. Okay, the potatoes are softening up quite nicely, so it's time to add our linguine. And then in another 5 minutes, towards the end, we'll add the green beans, because I want them to still have a bit of crunch factor. I like them with a little bit of crunch. It's just like a big cauldron of delicious goodness. Alright, so pasta, green beans and potatoes perfectly cooked. Remember, you want the potatoes to be quite squishy, because that is what is gonna essentially make this extremely creamy. Another good tip, as I guess any proper Italian would tell you, although by no means is this an actual traditional Italian recipe because I've changed it so much, but a good tip is to always add a little bit of the pasta water, the starchy water, because that also helps to make the sauce more creamy and stuff. All right, here comes our luscious green pesto. If there was a diving board, straight in head first. And when you're mixing this, again, don't be afraid to like mush everything up, because that's what the potatoes are there for. See, can you see that? How the potatoes have really broken down and made this extra creamy. All right, I am ready to plate up. And you know the drill, apply to face. Do you know what? This is even better than the first one. I think using potatoes as a form of making the sauce more creamy is genius. Not that I made it up, but I just think you guys should replicate this exactly how I did. Also, this mix is really delicious cold. So again, if you want to make a big batch like I did, and I made a lot of sauce as well, you know, the amount of sauce I made might make 3 to 4 servings, so you can put it in a Tupperware, have it cold, take it to work. Look at that. Oh, the flavor in this one, I have by far outdone myself today. All right guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. You better make these recipes. Trust me, they are just so delicious, so healthy, and yeah, once again, Jamie Oliver has gone into hiding because it's all about me now. Do you know what as well? Making those pasta recipes today, yeah, there was a little bit of conveyor belt action going on, but I actually found it pretty therapeutic. And then at the end, you just get something super delicious to eat, so it's like a double whammy. Anyways guys, I'm sending you all so much love, and I'll see you all in the next video. Laters.
Satisfy my appetite with something spectacular. Check your vernacular, and then I get back to ya with diamond like precision. Insatiable is what I envision. Can't detect acquisition from your friend's expedition, Mr.